In 2022, Turkey's defense exports were $4.4 billion. By the end of 2025, that number crossed $7.2 billion, and the official target for 2030 is $15 billion per year. But this isn't just about selling more drones. What is happening inside Turkey's defense industry right now is a quiet, methodical transformation from a regional military power into a top 5 global defense hub. Think about that list for a moment. The United States, Russia, China, France. That is the current club. By 2030, Turkey intends to sit at that same table. Today we are going to open the roadmap. We will look at the 3 major milestones that will decide whether Turkey reaches that status: air dominance with the KAAN fighter, naval expansion including a national submarine and a real aircraft carrier, and finally a complete, homegrown missile shield. We will also look at the space and artificial intelligence layer that ties everything together. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why 2030 is the year the global defense industry changes forever. Let us start with a number that tells the whole story. In 2002, Turkey had roughly 300 defense companies. Most of them were repair shops and licensed manufacturers. Today, that number stands at over 2,500. And 7 Turkish companies now rank among the top 100 defense firms in the world. That is more than Italy, more than Israel, and closing fast on the United Kingdom. But the real driver of this growth is not just quantity. It is the domestic content ratio. In 2010, a typical Turkish weapon system contained about 20% locally made components. By 2025, that figure exceeded 80%. The target for 2030 is 90% or higher. That means almost every critical part, from engines to avionics to guidance chips, will be designed and built inside Turkey's borders. The first pillar of the 2030 roadmap is air dominance. And that story begins and ends with the KAAN. The KAAN is Turkey's first indigenous 5th-generation stealth fighter. It made its first flight in early 2024, and by 2025, 2 more prototypes had joined the test fleet. But the real milestone comes in 2028. That is when the KAAN is scheduled to fly with a fully domestic engine, developed by TR Motor and TEI. Currently, the prototypes use General Electric F110 engines. That is acceptable for testing, but it is not strategic independence. The domestic engine will change everything. It will remove the last major foreign link in the fighter's supply chain. According to TEI, the manufacturer, the goal is to have 40 KAAN fighters in active service by 2030, with mass production ramping up in 2029. Now let us talk numbers that matter. The KAAN's radar cross-section is estimated at roughly 0.1 square meters. That is not quite F-35 territory, which is around 0.001, but it is significantly better than any 4th-generation fighter in the region, including the Greek Rafale or the Israeli F-15. The KAAN will carry an indigenous ESA radar called BRFE, which has over 2,000 transmit-receive modules. And it will be armed with the Kdon and Bozdoğan air-to-air missiles, both already in serial production. What this means operationally is that by 2030, Turkey will no longer need to ask anyone for permission to fly a deep strike mission. It will have its own stealth platform, its own weapons, and its own logistics. That is the definition of air independence. But the KAAN is not alone. Alongside it flies the Kızılelma, an unmanned stealth fighter that made its first landing and takeoff from the TCG Anadolu drone carrier in late 2025. By 2027, the Kızılelma is expected to reach initial operational capability. Unlike the KAAN, the Kızılelma is designed for high-risk missions like suppressing enemy air defenses. It carries a similar internal weapons bay and can reach Mach 0.9 at sea level. When you combine the KAAN for air superiority and the Kızılelma for the dangerous strike role, you have a 2-layer air combat system that no other medium-sized power possesses. The second pillar of the roadmap is naval expansion. This is where Turkey transforms from a coastal navy into a blue water force. The turning point came in 2023 with the commissioning of the TCG Anadolu, the world's first drone carrier. But that ship was a compromise. It was originally designed to carry F-35B fighters, and when those were blocked, Turkey turned it into a drone carrier. By 2030, that compromise will be replaced by purpose-built platforms. First is the TCG Trakya, a sister ship to the Anadolu but with significant improvements. It is expected to enter service around 2028 and will be optimized for the TB3 naval drone and the Kızılelma from day one. But the real headline is the Mujum, Turkey's first full-size national aircraft carrier. The design was unveiled in early 2025. and it shows a ship of roughly 60,000 tons displacement, comparable to the British Queen Elizabeth class. It will feature a ski jump ramp, possibly catapults for heavier aircraft, and a planned air wing of KAAN fighters, Kızılelma drones, and naval helicopters. The steel cutting is expected before 2028, with commissioning in the early 2030s. That timeline means that by 2030, the project will be well underway, and Turkey will be publicly recognized as a carrier-building nation. But a carrier needs escorts and submarines. That brings us to the Milden, the national submarine program. Turkey currently operates German-designed Type 209 and Type 214 submarines. They are excellent boats, but they come with export restrictions and foreign components. The Milden changes that. It is a 2,700-ton submarine with air-independent propulsion, meaning it can stay submerged for weeks without surfacing. The steel cutting took place in 2025, and the first boat is scheduled to be commissioned in 2029. By 2030, Turkey will have at least one indigenously designed submarine in the water, with 3 more under construction. And the weapons? They will be domestic too. The AKYA heavy torpedo and the Gezgin land attack cruise missile, which can be launched from submerged torpedo tubes, are both in advanced testing. Combine the TCG Anadolu, the TCG Trakya, the Mujim carrier, 6 new Milden submarines planned by the 2030s, and the TF-2000 air defense destroyers we have covered before, and you have a navy that can project power not just in the Aegean or the Black Sea, but into the Indian Ocean, the Red Sea, and the Eastern Mediterranean simultaneously. That is blue water capability, and it requires a blue water air defense shield. That brings us to the third pillar, the missile shield. For decades, Turkey relied on foreign systems for long-range air defense. The American Patriots, the Russian S-400s, even the older Hawks from NATO. By 2030, that era will be over. The replacement is called Siper, which means shield in Turkish. The Siper system is being developed by Aselsan and Roketsan. The first version, Block 1, entered service in 2024. It has a range of 150 kilometers and can engage targets at altitudes up to 30 kilometers. That is roughly comparable to the Patriot Pack-2. But Block 2 is the game changer. It will have a range exceeding 300 kilometers and is designed to intercept ballistic missiles and hypersonic threats. According to public statements from the SSB, the Turkish Defense Procurement Agency, Block 2 will reach operational capability by 2027. And there is more. The Demir Point Defense System, similar to the Iron Dome but with longer range, is already being deployed to protect key bases. The Bur Mobile Air Defense System fills the short-range gap. By 2030, every layer of Turkey's air defense network, from very short-range man-portable missiles to 300-kilometer anti-ballistic missiles, will be fully domestic. That means no more debates about activating Russian S-400 systems, no more political leverage from Washington over Patriot batteries. Turkey will control its own sky, completely. Now, none of these 3 pillars work in isolation. They are being stitched together by 2 invisible forces: artificial intelligence and space-based assets. Start with space. Turkey's space agency, TUA, launched its first indigenous high-resolution observation satellite, EMIS, in 2023. It provides 0.9-meter resolution, enough to identify military vehicles. By 2028, the next generation, Göktürkay, will offer sub-meter resolution and real-time data downlinks. But the real leap is the planned satellite constellation for beyond line-of-sight targeting. Imagine a Kızılelma drone flying over the Mediterranean, receiving a target update directly from a Turkish satellite orbiting over Africa. That is network-centric warfare, and Turkey is building it right now. Then there is artificial intelligence. Aselsan has a program called Akinci AI, named after the famous drone, which integrates autonomous target recognition and swarm coordination. In tests, a swarm of TB2 drones directed by a single Kızılelma was able to identify and prioritize multiple air defense radars without human intervention. By 2030, this will be standard on every major platform. The KAAN pilot will have an AI assistant that tracks threats, suggests maneuvers, and even takes over in emergency situations. The submarines will have AI sonar analysis that filters noise better than any human operator. The missile defense system will use machine learning to predict ballistic trajectories in real time. Put all of this together, and you begin to see the full picture. A country that 2 decades ago could barely produce a basic radio is now designing stealth fighters, nuclear-capable ballistic missiles, and AI-driven drone swarms. But the question that matters most is why? Why is Turkey spending billions to achieve this level of self-sufficiency? The answer goes back to 1974. After the Cyprus intervention, the United States imposed a full arms embargo on Turkey. F-16 spare parts were blocked. Critical systems were frozen. The Turkish military was suddenly unable to maintain its own equipment. That experience created a national trauma that still drives defense policy today. The same thing happened more recently after Turkey bought the Russian S-400 system and was removed from the F-35 program in 2019. Billions of dollars in investment, years of planning, all wiped out by a political decision in Washington. The 2030 roadmap is the final answer to that vulnerability. When every fighter engine is domestic, every submarine torpedo is local, and every missile guidance chip is made in Ankara, no foreign government can blackmail Turkey by withholding spare parts or technology. That is the ultimate goal, not just military power, but military autonomy. And here is the export consequence. When a country develops all its own systems, it can also sell them without asking for third-party permission. Turkey already sells drones to over 30 countries, including Ukraine, Poland, and Indonesia. By 2030, it will be selling KAAN fighters, Milden submarines, and Cyper air defense systems to allies across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. The $15 billion export target is not a fantasy. It is a conservative estimate. Let us look at the competition. Israel exports roughly $12 billion in defense products annually, though that number varies. France exports around $18 billion. Turkey at $15 billion by 2030 would place it fourth or fifth globally, ahead of Germany and Italy, and roughly tied with the United Kingdom. That is extraordinary for a country that was almost entirely dependent on foreign arms just 20 years ago. But there is a risk, a massive risk. The roadmap assumes that all these complex systems will be delivered on time. The KAAN domestic engine is still a challenge. The Milden submarine has never been built before. The Cyper Block II's ballistic missile intercept capability has not been demonstrated in public. If any of these key projects slips by 3 or 4 years, the whole 2030 vision collapses. Yet the Turkish defense industry has a track record of delivering late, but delivering eventually. The T-129 attack helicopter was delayed for years, but it now serves in the Philippines and Pakistan. The Altai main battle tank took over a decade, but production is finally ramping up with a domestic engine. The TB2 drone, which everyone mocked in 2014, became a legend in Ukraine and Libya. The pattern is consistent. Turkey overpromises, underdelivers on schedule, but ultimately delivers a working product. So what does the world look like in 2030 if the roadmap succeeds? NATO will have a second-largest army that is almost entirely independent of American technology. That creates strange dynamics. Turkey might buy Russian S-400s and American F-35s at the same time, or more likely, neither. It will operate its own KAAN fighters alongside its own air defense network, integrated with its own satellites. When a crisis erupts in the Eastern Mediterranean or the Caucasus, Turkey will not need to ask for overflight permissions or resupply clearances. It will simply move. For Russia, a fully independent Turkish defense industry means that Ankara can sell weapons to Ukraine while also maintaining dialogue with Moscow, without fear of Russian retaliation cutting off spare parts. That flexibility is already visible. It will only grow. For China, Turkey offers an alternative supply chain for countries that do not want to be completely tied to Beijing. For Europe, a militarily autonomous Turkey is both a threat and an asset. Threat if relations sour, asset if Turkey's capabilities are aligned with NATO missions. But for the average viewer watching this video, the most important takeaway is this. The era of easy Western military dominance is ending. Smaller and medium powers are not just buying weapons anymore. They are learning how to build everything themselves. Turkey is the most advanced example of this trend, but it will not be the last. South Korea is already there. India is close. Brazil and Indonesia are following. By 2030, the map of global defense production will look very different. And Turkey, a nation that was once a customer, will be one of the main suppliers. The only question is whether the timeline holds. The ambition, the funding, and the engineering talent are clearly there. Now it is a matter of execution. This is the 2030 roadmap for Turkey to become a global defense hub. A stealth fighter, a national submarine, a domestic carrier, a complete missile shield, and an AI space network that sees everything. Not a single foreign permission required. Thank you for watching Intel Prime. If you want to understand the future of warfare before it happens, you are in the right place.